So, Madam Clerk, we don't have, I don't have an agenda in front of me, so I believe that.
Okay, members of council, please be aware that I'm starting the live stream and recording. We're good to go.
Okay, we're ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Good evening or good afternoon, council, SLT members. I see that we have quorum for this special meeting of council on the 25th of January, so I will call it in session. And now I will turn to the clerk.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do have a motion by Councillor Olson, seconded by Councillor Kaur. Be it resolved that the agenda for the January 25th, 2021 special meeting of council be adopted as circulated. Members of council are reminded that this is a special meeting, so changes and additions to the agenda are not in order. So I will call the vote in alphabetical order, starting with Councillor Hahn.
Yes.
Councillor Hildebrand.
Yes.
Councillor Kaur.
Yes.
Councillor Olson.
Yes.
Councillor Stewart.
Yes.
Councillor Wink.
Yes.
And Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
And that motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Mr. Mayor?
Okay, and is there any member of council that has a pecuniary interest to declare? Not seeing any, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, so noted. The business item on the agenda is a report on succession planning, and the report is by the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Cribbs. And so I believe he's going to do a presentation, and then I will present the resolution on the report.
Okay, Mr. Cribbs, you have the floor.
Good evening, council. So this evening we have the proposed amended and revised succession policy for your consideration at this time. Town of Pelham did already engage in succession management. That said, the concept hasn't been specifically looked at, the corporate approach, in 8 years now, 7.5 to 8 years, and it was appropriately time for an update. Council did identify this as part of its strategic plan as a specific action item, and it's really designed to further the risk management framework, which Council identified as a key strategic priority in the strategic plan. So it sort of checks a couple of boxes and seems timely. Accordingly, you have the work product before you. In general terms, the policy itself is a relatively straightforward document, just a couple of pages. We're sort of proposing a corporate approach that's relatively informal. And that's really a reflection of our size and the fact you have a fairly active and engaged leadership team that has a reasonably good finger on the pulse of the organization, and because we're small enough that sort of, at least to a certain extent, everyone's known to each other. With that comes a reasonable understanding of sort of timelines for various people's careers and retirement plans and those sort of things that factor into a plan. So we were able to remove a number of items that were already in there, and hopefully create and propose a policy to you tonight that we think is realistic and reasonable on our size and resource level. It essentially forces your senior leadership team, up to and including myself, to think about the topic a couple of times a year. And if there are unexpected changes to the staff complement, to do it at that time too. And that's really probably entirely adequate for a corporation of our size and complexity to keep us thinking about it, but you don't have to be doing it every day. And then if you follow through the policy and ultimately specifics of some of the plan, there's some efforts to ensure that staff have training, educational, and work experience opportunities to develop the skills they need to have opportunities to compete for positions with the town in the future. That's really it in a nutshell. Happy to take any specific questions if there are any, or general for that matter.
Okay. Thank you for that report, Mr. CAO. At this time, is there any questions, comments on the CAO's report? I see Councillor Hildebrand.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just need to know the procedure for tonight. Are we going to be voting on this motion before we have the in-camera session?
Mr. CAO?
Well, if you're satisfied with the policy as it is, you can do so. Depending, if you feel you're likely to want to make revisions as a result of what we discuss in closed, we can actually make those at a future date. So, I mean, there's no immediate rush. We do have a policy in place. Nothing need be passed tonight if that such is the will of council. We're meeting as a special purpose meeting so that we're focused on this at the moment, but in any future meeting, it could be one of, a dozen agenda items. I guess, I'm sorry, that's a somewhat wishy-washy answer. I'm trying to allow you some flexibility. But assuming that the generalist policy is not problematic or is supportable by a majority of council, then you could pass that before we go into close. The policy and the plan are separate documents.
Okay, thank you, Mr. CAO. Did that, any other comments, Councillor? Yeah, Councillor Hildebrand?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, my plan was to defer the approval of this policy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, not seeing any. Madame, I see Councillor Wink.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Hildebrand, any particular reason why you want this deferred? Like, I just don't understand at this point.
Well, at this point, we're going in camera, and I'm sure after we have that discussion, you'll understand.
Councillor Wink?
So are you deferring it until after we come back from the in-camera session or at a later date?
Whatever we as council decide.
No, Councillor Wink, are you done?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Stewart?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. As Mr. Cribb stated, we currently do have a policy in place. So if we don't vote to amend the policy tonight, it's really not of any huge consequence. So it can just be added to an agenda for the vote, the next meeting or the meeting after that. It's not critical that it's done today.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Council. I believe that's exactly what the CAO said, that if Council does not want to make a decision on this motion tonight, as you have stated, it can be deferred or picked up at another meeting. Any other questions or comments on this? Now, actually, Madam Clerk, being deferred, is that a motion?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do have a motion to approve the successor management policy, so that would require a motion to refer it to a future meeting.
Okay, Councillor Hildebrand, are you making a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion to refer this to a further meeting of council.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And is there?
So for you, Mr. Mayor, if I could just put the motion on the floor first.
Go ahead. Yep.
Just to make sure it's procedurally correct. Moved by Councillor Hildebrand, seconded by Councillor Stewart. Be it resolved that Council receive report 2021-0025, Chief Administrative Officer, and that Council receive the report for information purposes, and that Council approve the attached succession management policy, policy S600-25, and that policy S625 approved in 2013 be repealed and replaced. So now a motion to refer this to a future meeting would be in order.
Okay, so now we're commenting on the motion, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so any comments from any councillors on the deferral? Okay, not seeing any, Madam Clerk. I guess we're ready for the vote.
So are we voting on a motion to refer?
Yes,
Because I don't have a seconder on that.
Oh, Mr. CAO?
Sorry, do we have a specific date to refer? Because that's just the simplest thing for staff. If we wanted to pick like February 16th?
Council Hildebrand?
February the 16th is great, works fine.
Okay, and Councillor Stewart, are you seconding this motion?
Yes, I'll do that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion, questions on this motion? That's going to
On
be.
the motion to defer.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk?
On the motion to refer it to February
Yeah,
16th.
yeah, on the motion to refer to February 16th, any other questions or comments? Okay, not seeing any, Madam Clerk?
Thank you. So on the motion to refer, starting with Councillor Hildebrand.
Yes,
Councillor Kaur.
Yes.
Councillor Olson.
Yes.
Councillor Stewart.
Yes.
Councillor Wink.
Yes.
Councillor Hahn.
Yes.
And Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
Okay, that motion is carried. The next motion on the agenda, moved by Councillor Hahn, seconded by Councillor Wink. Be it resolved that the next portion of the meeting be closed to the public in order to consider the following pursuant to section 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, one item.
No.
Discussion on the motion?
Any discussion on, any questions on the motion? Not seeing any, Madam Clerk?
Thank you. I'll call the vote, starting with Councillor Olson.
Yes.
Councillor Stewart.
Yes.
Councillor Wink.
Yes.
Councillor Hahn.
Yes.
Councillor Hildebrand.
yes,
Councillor Kaur.
Yes.
And Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
And that motion carries.
Okay, through you, Mr. Mayor, please give me a moment to turn off the live streaming.
Yes.
I will exit the meeting now.
Okay, thank you.